Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
We're at the legislature in room 1214. This is where we tape the show every day. We have a great show on tap for you. Randi Thompson, what's on the rundown?
Well, we've got the Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Nevada, Lorraine, and Now magazine publisher George Harris.
And today, Daryl, Capurro, Larry Matheis, and Andy Barbano. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we focus on attracting high-tech companies to Northern Nevada. One vital amenity provided to companies at TRI is a connection to a complete digital fiber network. This gives the ability of unlimited bandwidth and voice services to every business. And what's charged for the installation of this valuable asset? Nothing, zero, nada, and that's a pretty good deal. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The Resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in Northern Nevada.
Coverage of Nevada Newsmakers from the state legislature in Carson City is brought to you by the Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
This is a special edition of Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're joined by George Harris with Nevadans for Sound Government. Pleasure to have you here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's talk about the governor definitely going after this rebate hot and heavy here over the last week. He's been in every form of media you can imagine. You think he's going to get this done?
Well, I think this has a lot to do with the governor saving his legacy. Yeah, I think it's got to be done. Listen, this session alone, this biennium alone, has a 24% increase in government spending, while there's only been a 12% increase in population growth and inflation. The money needs to go back to the people. And I don't care how it goes back. But if it doesn't go back, there will be retributions to be paid. Because I'll tell you something, contrary to what legislators up here are saying, people in the neighborhoods want their money. They've made it quite clear. Every time you guys go out and interview people, they say they want their money back. They should get their money back. The money was stolen from them.
You know, I did just a non-scientific survey at a Rotary Club luncheon I spoke at the other day, and I asked the members, do you expect to get a rebate back? 3 hands went up. I said, do you want the money back? Every hand.
Every hand went back. Of course, Sam. I mean, listen, we need to start concentrating on the family. We need to start concentrating on how we can keep our state better. I mean, you know, these guys are spending money up here on bizarre programs.
For example?
There's so many of them. I really can't, you know, it's 7:30 in the morning. I can't just pop one off, but, you know.
All-day kindergarten?
All-day kindergarten. That's a humongous cost. The Millennium Scholarship Program, it's been proven a large failure. You know, some of the liberals on the other end of the aisle, you know, they always talk this game, but yes, we do have extra.
The governor would strongly disagree with you that this has been a big failure. failure.
It's a humongous failure. You have grade inflation. You have kids, the failure rate the first semester is ridiculous. The program's in trouble. The program was supposed to be self-funded. None of that's taking place. That's a failure.
You have scholarship students taking remedial education at the college level.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course you do, because nobody prepared them to go to the college level. And I think that, listen, I'm one who believes it should be means tested. I mean, I think we should have some of these programs, but we shouldn't just be flushing money down the drain. I mean, listen, there's a lot of folks on the other aisle that talk about, we need to do this and that. Well, you know what? We do have the extra money. Let's put $100 million into mental health, because we need to put $100 million into mental health. It's not going to affect the budget that much. We got I think it's now $8.2 billion annual budget. I mean, those are things we need to do, but they're not being done. One shots, that's going to happen. But listen, you're talking about this gross budget, talking about giving a measly $300 million back to folks. Give the money back.
And the governor was very adamant that if he doesn't get this passed...
Oh, he'll go into special session. Listen, he's got his whole reputation on the line.
Right, and he also was talking about an initiative petition. He took a shot at you. I asked him if he was going to join you in beers, and he said he wanted to get one that would actually pass.
Yeah, I know, but the governor would join us because he couldn't do it on his own. Listen, the fact of the matter is, doing an initiative petition is hard, but we failed because we said, when the taxes were going on, listen, we want to repeal these taxes. We failed because we had government employees hindering us. We went to court. There was a permanent injunction put against those folks. If we would have been left alone, we would have passed. And then now, 2 years later, because I've consistently said we didn't need to increase government 33% last session, and now 2 years later, I was right. I've been consistently right. Not that I'm a genius. I'm not. It's all you got to do is look at the numbers.
Is that the quote of the day?
No.
That he's not a genius? No. Well, one of the initiative petitions...
Listen, the quote of the day is, I'm absolutely sure I am no genius. I'm a regular guy.
No, one of your petitions is likely to be the TABOR, the Taxpayers Bill of Rights. Well, not mine.
It's going to be an effort of a bunch of different folks. Right. But yeah, Taxpayers Bill of Rights, which will limit government spending. People are going to have to start being accountable for the money they spend.
Now, Senator Raggio said that the governor of Colorado is trying to opt out of TABOR, and Bob Beers said that's just not true. What are you looking at, an identical Colorado initiative, or are you looking at something that will be a little more modified?
We never do anything in Nevada that's identical to anybody else. Because we're a different kind of animal. Yeah. No, I'll tell you what we're looking for. Through frustration, we're looking for some way to control government spending. And everybody thinks we're beating up on the state. This isn't, TABOR is not for, listen, the larger problems at the city and the county levels. These city and counties have more money than the state does. And they've got government television stations that are costing millions of dollars a year. Where are all the we'll call them liberals, where are all these folks on the other side of the aisle who say, oh, well, you just don't want to help people, or you don't want to help school? There's certain things up here you can't do. If there's a bill up here that has the word terrorism in it, even if it's the most horrible bill in the world, you can't vote against it because the word terrorism is in it. If it has the word education in it, you can't vote against it because, but if you look at some of these bills that they have, all-day kindergarten is a ridiculous cost to folks. Listen, the job of government isn't to raise our children, period. Yeah. It's the family unit's job. And when you start having all-day kindergarten, you start turning your children over to the government, and they start, that indoctrination starts at that level. And I think that we need to concentrate more on the family and keeping more money in families' hands.
Let me ask you this. Liberty Watch magazine, you came out with the first edition. Second edition about to hit the stands?
It's going to hit stands tomorrow. It's going to be great. It's the cover stories on Professor at UNLV, Hans Hoppe, and we're going to get national recognition for that story.
Okay, and if you want information on how to subscribe, just go to kvbc.com or krnb.com. Yep. Go to the Nevada Newsmakers icon, and there's information on there on how to subscribe.
Really appreciate that.
Always a pleasure having you here, George.
Thanks for
being
having
here. We'll be right back with the Pundits after this.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Pepper Mill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Pepper Mill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you dining?
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we welcome to the program the Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Nevada, Lorraine Hunt. Pleasure to have you here as always.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Good morning.
I got to ask you a question.
Yes.
In this governor's race, are you being dissed at this point? I mean, you know, the governor was on here last week. We're talking about candidates for office. I had to remind him that you were running.
Well, I'm definitely running for governor in 2006. You know, I'm not running against anybody. I'm running for governor. And some people do tend to forget about that, I guess. Maybe they don't want an independent woman in the governor's mansion. I have no idea.
Well, you know, let's look at some of your history. I mean, you've been a successful businesswoman for many years, ran a restaurant for over 30 years now. You started a bank. You were on the Clark County Commission, which is one of the toughest places to be. I remember you debating Erin Kenney on this program when you ran for re-election, and you wiped the floor with her. Are people just underestimating you?
They tend to underestimate me. I like to work quietly. I'm very much a workaholic, and I like to get behind the scenes and get things done. And as you know, as the chair of the Nevada Commission on Tourism and Economic Development, I've had many, many accomplishments and successes in the last 6.5 years that I'm very proud of. And in the campaign, I'll be talking about all of those things.
Well, you're almost the stealth candidate, kind of like the lieutenant governor's position is the stealth position, and yet you're the only administrator that has experience as administrator, because the other one's running or legislator so far.
Correct.
You're also the only business person.
That's correct.
So your experiences are a lot different, and I think that will probably help you getting out to the people. But what are your challenges in letting people know that, you know, being the stealth candidate is, well, I don't know, a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I think it's a good thing. You know, I love the story of the tortoise and the hare. In every race, I've always been kind of the stealth candidate, and then at the end, we come on. I have a great foundation in the state, in all the rural areas, and in southern Nevada, northern Nevada, with both Republicans and Democrats and independents. But with the pundits and some of the political writers, etc., I'm not the most popular person, maybe because I'm not controversial, so I'm not that exciting, you know, for them. I'm a workaholic. I like to get things done. I like to bring people together. So I'm not flamboyant. I don't create controversy, and so consequently it doesn't give you a lot of ink, but I like to get the job done. I've been working for the people of Nevada now for a long time, and I think as their governor I can do some amazing things. I'd like the opportunity.
They're saying it's going to cost maybe $8 to $10 million to run for governor this year.
I believe that.
You obviously cannot fundraise while we are in session here.
That's right.
But you are not without funds yourself. You've been a very successful businesswoman and developer.
Yes. I'm not concerned about funding. I'll have enough money to run a formidable campaign. I can't, because of the president of the Senate, as you know, I can't do any fundraising until 30 days after the end of the session, but I'm getting assurances from people all over the state that the checks will be coming in when the time comes.
Now, you're not a controversial candidate. You're not a controversial office holder. We do already have one of those, Senator Reid. His statement recently about calling the president a loser to a bunch of high school kids in Vegas. Is he hurting Nevada?
I do believe it's a very negative impact, and I think even within the state, many of our friends have indicated that they're very disappointed to hear those kinds of things. I feel the good leaders bring people together. I would rather find solutions.
You know what, though? I think there's another side to this. I think there's another side.
What is it?
I think that Senator Reid was very much underestimated by the Republicans and by the president, and I think that they thought he was going to be a pushover, that he's this quiet guy, and they didn't have a clue who they were going to be dealing with. And Harry Reid comes out and says what's on his mind, and whether you agree with him or disagree with him, you know, at this point, he's got the Republicans backing away on several things. I mean, Senator Frist is having to deal with him. The president is having to deal with him. This filibuster thing is not going away. The president's had to retreat a little bit on his Social Security plans. So I think that Harry Reid has made a point that, you know, you're not just going to roll over on him. So maybe that's just my opinion.
Well, actually, that is his job, isn't it? Yeah. That is his job. So you can say in that he is doing his job.
Yeah. Now you're heading back to China here next month.
Yes, I am, Sam. We opened that office in Beijing, and it's going gangbusters for us, bringing Nevada right into the right on the front of the radar screen. And we've got 1.5 billion visitors that want to come to our great state. And we're going to go over and open another office in Shanghai, do some more selling of Nevada. You know, I wish that some of the legislators understood how important tourism still is. It is the engine that drives this economy. Every $1 we spend advertising, marketing, tourism generates $486 back into our economy. And just yesterday at Assembly Ways and Means, they cut $1 million out of the advertising budget for the Nevada Commission on Tourism. Do you realize that they just lost $48 million in revenue to the state? It wasn't good business. I was hoping that would get put back. It's very important that we get out there and sell Nevada. Tourism is popular all over the world. It's fiercely competitive. And yeah, we have a good thing going, but you know, you can't just build it and they come. You have to build it, have it here, and go out and sell it. And that's what
why did they cut the funding?
I wasn't in the session. I just heard about it after the fact.
I was.
Very disappointed.
Yeah, I was in that session.
$1 generates $486. You cut out $1 million. You cut out $48 million in revenues to us. Think of what we could do for education, for social services, for all the needs of our people in the state. You know, sometimes the legislators are well-intended, but they just don't get the business aspect of the credits and the debits.
Especially in the assembly side. They're not getting
That's
that.
true.
And that would come from the businesswoman, Lieutenant Governor Lorraine Hunt. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this. Thank you, Governor.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in northern Nevada.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seem to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? Yeah, they do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
Nevada Newsmakers here with our Power Pundit panel today. Andy Barbano, editor of NevadaLabor.com. We have Daryl Capurro here, who is the managing director of the Nevada Motor Transport Association, and Larry Matheis, executive director of the Nevada State Medical Association. Welcome to all of you. I've got to start off. Andy, you know, is Lorraine Hunt underestimated here in this governor's race? You know, I mean, when I was talking to the governor the other day, and he was talking about Republican candidates, I had to remind him that she was running.
I think, as a matter of fact, my colleagues in punditry here were discussing or projecting into various races next year, and I don't think I'm overstating it to say we see an incredible sameness out there. So I don't think there's an underestimation or overestimation. I think next year, if there is going to be a theme to campaigns on the state and local level, it will be seething apathy.
Not a lot of excitement out there, huh?
I do think it is in the climate of conventional wisdom. I think it is easy to underestimate people like Lorraine Hunt. She's been very effective in every campaign she's run. She's won every campaign she's won. I think it's what's always underestimated is the power of grassroots and how people connect to people. And I think it's not about the position they hold. It's not about necessarily their ideology. I think as this shakes out, we've got huge numbers of people who are self-identifying as they want to be the next whatever. And over the next few months, we'll see an awful lot of those fall by the wayside. They'll all decide they want to spend more time with their families. We've got term limits coming up.
Whether the families like it or not.
Whether the families like it, and in many cases, I think they're just as happy if they're off running for office. But I think that the one thing that's so hard for conventional wisdom to take into account, you can take their positions, you can take who supports them, how much money they've got, but the factor that frequently weighs in Nevada races is the likability and how good they are at grassroots. And I would think Lorraine is one of those folks that has that's where her strength really lies.
Well, Lorraine has always kind of run under the radar, so to speak, in that. So I wouldn't underestimate her ability to either raise money or to come across to people, and that I think she has done a good job in the economic development area. So it's going to be interesting, but I agree with Andy on some of his summation. Right now, there seems to be a sameness to things, and that'll change as time goes on. But
of course, the problem in this building, conventional wisdom is always conventional and seldom wise.
Well, part of the sameness to me is the Perkins-Titus. You've got two people that have, been slapping Northern Nevada for years. Now they're coming back and trying to be a friend in Northern Nevada. And they've been strong tax and spend liberals. Now they're coming back pretending that they're both, the savior of the property tax cap. So how is that playing out, especially from a lobbyist point of view, on the legislation and on the agendas that they're advocating?
I don't think any of it matters. We live in an era of faith-based politics when issues don't matter. Cosmetics matter, and the voters are looking for candidates that say, I'm daddy and I'm mommy and I will pat you on the head and you vote for me and everything will be all right. And don't I look good and don't I have a big advertising budget? And by the way, we're starting smear vote veterans against the opposition over here, and I'm going to start a front group that that says my opponent's a lesbian, a child molester, or a thief. And we're in an era of faith-based politics where cosmetics, image, gimmicks. It'll be very low-level politics for the future, and the issues aren't going to matter a damn bit.
The challenge is to get through the public relations curtain that surrounds serious candidates. What we need is to somehow tease this system so that we actually get people who can govern, who can do their jobs, and then we as citizens have to exercise our responsibility to evaluate how well they've done it and make our decisions.
It's tough. This session in many ways has been harder to read than last session was, because and it's kind of crazy in a way, because here they've got a surplus of money. Last time the business community was fighting taxes, which, as it turns out, we didn't need as much of as we got. And so it's been hard to read, but many of the things that have been said by my colleagues here are absolutely true with respect to how this session should be evaluated.
But this session's almost, I see the lobbyists roaming the hallway in this dazed, confused, bored anticipation of the end of session. There's really no major, except for the budgets and some of the anti-business bills that are being dealt with, there's really not a major issue in this session.
No, it's like watching the NBA playoffs.
Right. It's last session, of course, you had the tax issue, which of course took all of a regular session and 2 special sessions. It shouldn't have, but it did. We have no central focus this time, with the possibility of fight with respect to the rebating to the taxpayers.
And there's not much real incentive for anybody to engage with the idea of coming out with good legislation, coming out with good governing. The campaign season started the day the session started, and so given how bad everybody felt about the lack of communication last time, they decided let's just not communicate.
Yeah, we're decompressing.
I got to stop it right there. We're out of time. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this interesting discussion. Thank you.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, water resources come from fresh, clean groundwater, approved by state permits. The water is pumped from wells to million-gallon storage tanks and then distributed to TRI companies. Another amenity is our investment in a state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant. This disposal system converts waste to clean water for industrial applications. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevada.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
If it's fun, it's here at the Peppermill, the $100,000 video-themed slot celebration, with more winners each week, 100 random winners every Monday and Wednesday, and more cash prizes, $6,000 random drawings every Friday, plus chances to win up to $1,000 in free slot play on Mr. Money's Challenge. You'll have more fun with the Peppermill's video-themed slot celebration, now worth over $100,000.
The slots that rock are at the Peppermill. Where are you winning?
And coming up tomorrow,
we have the president of the Nevada State Education Association, Terry Hickman, and the president of the State Education Board, John Galtney.
And now we're going to go rescue our photographer from the balcony. We'll see you next time on Nevada Newsmakers. Take a break. We'll come right back with Gary Loveman after this.
And 3, 2, 1.
It was a pretty tough legislative session. And Frank Fahrenkopf at this summit was talking about how even a 0.5% increase in the gaming tax was a huge hit on the gaming industry in Nevada. And he talked about that when you increase taxes in a place like Nevada, even to that